Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome everybody to another episode of the Team Figgins Yet to Be Named podcast. I'm Aiden Bassett, here with Tyler Parker, Jacob Figgins, and Dan Osborne. And no, he's not related to Ozzy. We got a lot to talk
Thank
about
you
today.
for that.
You're welcome. We have the chess.com
He's also
Invitational.
not actually Canadian.
That's true. We'll get into that later. Chess.com Invitational happened this past weekend. We want to talk about that. We want to talk about the new PDGA stats that were used instead of UDisc this time. Jacob, Tyler, Dan, how are we feeling about chess.com? Thoughts?
I thought it was amazing. I guess I shouldn't jump to who won, so we'll talk about other things before we talk about the hype of that. But being on site for the first Pro Tour event of the year, I thought it was amazing. New course, usually posing like extreme, major complications. Being on the staff side, watching it operate, it was actually super impressive on how smooth it was to be a Pro Tour event. I mean, there were hiccups from a staff standpoint, but no one else probably seen it, and it went extremely smooth. Like, I thought it was amazing having the first Pro Tour stop of 2024 here in Florida. Like, get out of town. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but great things about the tournament, and even being there, I mean, it was just so much fun being there. I mean, when you play, in regular tournaments in your local area, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's good, this guy's good. But when you're there with 1040, 1050 rated players, it's like, man, I suck. I mean, it's incredible how well they can throw the disc, but it's just the event total was just very welcoming, and I think it's a great starting point for the Pro Tour as well. I heard a lot of people say that how they loved how warm it was there. I mean, it wasn't really like that crazy warm. People could still wear hoodies and be fine, or a t-shirt. But I mean, compared to Vegas the past couple years, I mean, out there it's just been looked absolutely brutally cold and stuff. So I think it was a great tournament to start the season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was really cool going out there. I was only out there for the second round, but I think it was definitely a good start. I feel like there were people that complained, but I don't feel like a lot of those complaints were valid, and we'll get into that. But
Yeah.
I think there were definitely it was a really cool start up to the year, because I don't really think there's anything else like it on the Pro Tour. So
Yeah, the course was
so-
awesome. It was such a fun course to watch. And Tyler, the fact that you're saying that everything ran smoothly the whole way. I mean, you were literally there from 6:30 till close every single day of the tournament, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some long days. It's really cool though, because when you're a part of something so big and so awesome, I think I worked on average a 14-hour day every day, but it didn't feel like it. It was amazing, and to be honest, I never walked with a card. I think I've seen 3 people putt out on hole 18 and 5 people tee off on hole 1 the whole weekend. But just being on site, and seeing all of the excited spectators, and being the volunteer coordinator and seeing people eager to go out and take score for cards, it was phenomenal. So many people came back and thanked me for putting them with a great card, and I'm like, thank you. You are a part of making this event successful. Being able to send out volunteers for stats on every card makes it even more enjoyable for the people that are at home, so that they can follow along, because if we don't have those extra bodies on site, we can't make everything just flow as well. So it was great.
You're welcome. Because I was one of those guys. Day 2. Not going to lie.
Yes, you and Jacob both were solid volunteers.
Well, not going to lie. Caddying and doing the stats at the same time was a little bit much. But I will say, the new PDGA system, whatever they were using, was very user-friendly and was really great. I didn't feel like there were any issues that I was running into, other than just the annoyance of having to pay attention to everybody else's shots. Obviously, while carrying the bag for somebody was a little bit of a difficult time at times like I'd get to the end of a hole and I'd be like, oh man, now I got to remember everybody's shot from every spot, and then of course, guesstimating as best as you can where the putt was in from. But I feel like the stats were super helpful. We can get into that a little bit. I don't know. Did any of y'all like follow along during the day, like to see what the stats were looking like?
No. I do have a question for those that did, though. Could you go back and look back at holes, or was it literally just the hole they're on? I heard some like feedback on how people didn't love the way that it operated in comparison to UDisc because they couldn't look back at their stats, or I don't know if it was like active or after the event, but I haven't looked at either way, so.
I'm not sure. I feel like I saw, so like you could see it live update, obviously. And I know there were some stats that it showed, like after the fact, like putting stats and fairway hits and stuff like that. But I don't think you could go back and see individual holes. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on that, but I think it doesn't show as detailed as what UDisc was. But obviously, it's something they can work on because they have the data. So.
Yeah, I just pulled up Evelina's scorecard, and it doesn't give like any stats. It doesn't look like
it does show putting stats and stuff, right?
Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen because it's actually pretty detailed. I want to go through and
okay, then I must be missing something.
We're gonna go to this tab right here. This is just straight out of the PDGA Live online. You can go and you can click on any one of these people. Like, if we're going to go down here and look at my boy Joey Buckets, we can look at all of his stats from round 1, 2, and 3.
Is this under the PDGA Live?
Yes. Literally all you do is...
division?
It just pops up automatically on their scorecard now. So when you go to PDGA Live and you want to see, what was the standings for this tournament? Like, I can see Joseph's first round putting percentage. He was 100% from C1X. Round 2, only 67%. Round 3, 83%.
Okay, very
Jacob.
cool. So are these stats available after the event closes? Because doesn't eventually the live scoring link on a tournament disappear?
I don't know. This is just on PDGA Live. I just typed in PDGA Live, and this event was at the very top. So I don't know how long you'll be able to.
I'm sure they're probably making a lot of changes this year. I think in years past, once an event was like finalized, then the ability to see like the hole by hole stats and stuff went away. By adding in more stats, they might change it to where you'll be able to actually look back, because that's ideally how it would be. That's the point of having the stats, is like to actually look at them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Jacob, you were one of the scorekeepers for Silas's card when we were out there. How user friendly was it for you? I'm just kind of curious, since we're kind of talking about the stats and whatnot.
This is kind of like a iPhone versus Android user friendliness conversation now.
I mean, I think it's all on the website, so they don't have the app updated yet. So that was the only weird thing.
Right.
So like I had to like scan a QR code when I walked down when they teed off, so they have that ready for you. And that pulls open the page to like enter whose card you're like keeping stats for. But overall, I mean, it was relatively simple. Like you would go and I did it every single time someone threw a shot. Basically, I would hit like there's a plus button next to like their total strokes for the card. And you would hit that, and then it would show you a little pop up, and you could show what happened. So it's like fairway, circle 1, 2, out of bounds or off the fairway. And you could enter distances. They didn't have, like, the guy that was telling everyone how to do it was like, you don't need to keep distances for the fairway, but just once you're inside circle 2, then that's when we were actually keeping track of distances, which makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But overall, it was really simple and easy. Like, it took me a couple seconds each shot. It was just more having to actually pay attention was the difficult part, but the software made it really easy. I think the only thing, and I think it was something, probably your league cards are different. So, I mean, we were at an 11 o'clock card. League card was at 3? So they... 2. Okay. I think having someone like your scorekeeper with rangefinders I think would be probably cool to have out there, because you do have the option to enter fairway distances. So I think, especially for like lead cards where people care about it more, having your scorekeeper having and they have the Bushnell sponsorship, so I think it makes total sense.
Yeah.
But
honestly, on lead card, they should have like 2 or 3 people as a score team.
oh, for sure.
One person like range finding, one person inputting, and then one person like helping you keep track. In a bigger crowd, it's a lot harder.
That would have been tough, like with a big crowd around you.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a moment that Dan actually pulled out, I think it was Randon's rangefinder, because Eric on, I forget what hole it was, threw like it
was like 12 or 13 or something.
Yeah, it was 12 or 13. He threw like a 380 foot skip in shot, and we didn't know, like until we used the rangefinder on it, we didn't know what the actual distance was. But that's another case where like you kind of want to know the distance, because he threw it in from the fairway. It was a crazy shot because no one saw it.
Sure.
Yeah, some people were saying 350, other people were saying 400. I'm like, I was asking anyone got a rangefinder, and Brandon's like, yeah, I got one. So I pulled it out real quick.
That's wild.
Ranged it, and I couldn't get to the basket directly from where I was standing, but I managed to hit like a tree that was like right next to it, and it said like 387 or something like that. So
wow,
yeah,
that's
it was
crazy.
An incredible
Dream
shot.
of throwing that far.
It was insane. Yeah, but I definitely think having rangefinders on your scorekeepers, whether that's a thing that they provide or like say like people can source their own, whatever. But I think that would take that to the next level, and I think it would be definitely a really cool system if you had that.
That's a really good idea.
Well, let's get into the actual winners a little bit, and we can talk about how some of these people finished up. This was really exciting.
You start with MPO. I'll take FPO.
All right, no, you start with FPO then. I was going to talk about FPO
perfect.
first.
Okay, so I know our predictions were way off. I don't even care. Evelina getting her first big win was freaking amazing. Like, I was so excited because, like, as we all know, Evelina's known for struggling with her putting. And she's got distance, she's got skill, she's got good form. And I feel like Olympus is definitely a course that will reward those attributes over putting. But I honestly think in the off season, she figured out how to putt. It was honestly the most amazing person I feel like that could have won that coming into day 2 was in the top 10. Scanning through the list, I was like, all right, guys, Evelina is who I want to win. And Evelina pulled it off. I was so excited. Like, it's just so cool to see, like, the Europeans being here for the American Tour and, like, killing it. Like, if Kristen was here, I'd love to see how she would play Olympus. But super pumped to see Evelina get her first big win, and just seeing her excitement, like, it was phenomenal to be in person witnessing that. So yeah, I was so excited. I don't know about any of you other guys, but that was like going into day 2. I was like, all right, changing my votes for Evelina. Like, I want her to take this down.
I feel like this year is also kind of telling to a lot of younger generation kind of really stepping up. No offense to the older folks, but they're kind of dying off in a way. I mean, you saw, in FPO in the top, 10, you saw Morgan Lynn's up there. Stacy Kiefer was up there as well. Henna was up there as well, too. And people are just, the young folks are showing up now. I think this is going to be a great thing for, starting to the start of the season, and just seeing the younger folks, step up to where they need to now in a way. And it's making things exciting and stuff. You're not getting the, normal Paige Pierce or Kristen or Katrina Allen anymore. You are getting the Evelina or Henna or whomever.
Okay, you know who you did have up there, though? Missy Gannon, who almost won this event. It really looks like it wasn't even close. But think about it, going into the last few holes, I think at one point, maybe it was on hole 15 of the last round. Yeah, hole 15, both Evelina and Missy birdied. And then on 16, so that means they're within 1. 16, Missy pars, Evelina birdies. 17, Missy doubles, Evelina pars. 18, Missy bogeys, Evelina birdies. So it was like really, really close down to those last few holes, and then Evelina just ran away with it.
Yeah, I remember watching it. I was watching it live on my phone and just seeing how close Missy was, and just seeing them kind of go back and forth like between strokes and stuff. And I mean, either one of them just, I mean, I guess Evelina pulled away in the end, and I mean, it's incredible to see.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely finished strong because, like, watching her upshot on 18 to capitalize the birdie was absolutely amazing. And like an FPO shooting a 1030 rated round at Olympus. Honestly, she was the only female above 1,000 rated. That is really, really impressive. I feel like 2024 is going to be her year for the event. Wow.
Yeah, 10-12 for the event.
Was her final round
10:31
being 10:30? That was the highest. Okay,
which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I've never I played the FPO layout yesterday, and to see on her back nine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 birdies, and I literally on the back nine picked up 10 strokes. Like, absolutely, like, whoa. Like, I know from hole 13 to 18, your body from hiking is starting to feel the physical effects. You're getting tired. Those are 5-hour rounds, 4 to 5 hour rounds. And for her to, like, persevere through that and stay strong and then finish with a birdie, like, that's just so impressive for hole 18. Like, I'm impressed.
I also want to point something out. She did putt. I feel like she putted a little bit better. I know she generally kind of struggles with her putting, and that's why she struggled to win a lot of events that she's played in and even been in the top 5 or top 10. But this weekend, it really didn't matter. According to her stats, round 1, she putted 25% from C1X. Round 2, she putted 64% from C1X. And then round 3, when she shot really well, was when she putted 89% from C1X. But first round, 97 total feet of putts. 97. Wow. That means it's an average of 5-ish feet per hole of putts that she's making, which pretty much means she has to get it to the basket and tap it in to get it in the basket. I mean, obviously, round 2 was a little bit different. Average putt was about 11.7. And then last round, actually, average putt was 9.4. But if that's not a testament to how well she throws the disc and how much that course favors people who throw the disc really well, maybe rather than putt, at least on the FPO side. I know MPO side, you have to do both to make anything happen out there. Yeah,
didn't she lay up for birdie on 18 too?
She did. She had an eagle putt.
Yeah, she just tossed it up and tapped in. Yeah.
Wait.
And I don't blame her. With her track record, I would have done the same thing.
Wait, hole 18's a par 5 for the FPO?
It is, yeah.
Yes.
That's so crazy.
So, why?
It just doesn't seem like a par 5 in general, though. Like, I feel like it doesn't, like, it's not like that far.
For an FPO thrower or you and I, it's definitely a par 5.
Okay, but think about this too, Dan. Not a whole lot of FPO players are throwing forehands, and that hole definitely favors to get it close to that OB on the right side and to actually give yourself a good look for an FPO player. On that side, you really need to have a forehand. So it's like somebody like Owen Scoggins is going to be a piece of cake to force a driver over in that little landing zone on the right. Which, by the way, round 1, Andrew Fish almost went long OB on 18 with a Comet.
Wow.
He threw a 5-speed. It was crazy.
To clarify that, Dan, what they did at Olympus is if there were holes that were very similar in distance for the female and our FPO and MPO, what they did is they made the shorter basket the MPO basket and made it like a par 5, and then the one that was just like 20, 30 foot further, they actually made the FPO layout or basket and made it a par 5. I didn't fully understand it at first, but then I thought about it and it actually makes sense because it would have been an easy 5 for an MPO, but make it a challenging 4 and a hard 5 for an FPO, and it makes a lot more sense.
So when they had the same basket, they would change the par.
Well,
Is that
I
what
know
you're saying?
that. I just know how the hole works.
They didn't.
And how the
The
hole
only
works, there's
basket
not
that
like
was the same was 18.
it's not like distance matters because
Okay.
you're literally having to throw OB from the landing zone. So it's like, where are you going to throw your next shot necessarily after your second? I mean, I guess there is that little right side area, but at the same time, for me, it's like if you have 300 plus feet in distance, it's like you probably could get it there, but I don't know. It just seemed a little odd to me, but.
No, because like some of the FPO girls, like Ellie, she can throw 550 foot. Throwing from the drop zone, she can land in the green. And same with
Yeah, that's
Evelina.
true.
Those girls crush. They're not your average Tyler and Dan.
Hey, I birdied that hole throwdown. Thank you very much.
Heyo.
From what pad?
Shorts.
Completely different
Okay.
layouts.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little different layout.
Just imagine Evelina birdied it from the big boy pad.
That's
Which
par
is
five.
bonkers.
Mine was a par four.
Okay, so let's talk about the MPO side. That was crazy to watch. If you were watching live or there in person, oh man, I was having flashbacks to European Open last year on hole 16. Hole 17 comes up. Ricky cashes that birdie putt, and the way that 18 was set up at this event was really cool because the entire green could be circled by spectators. So like as soon as that happened, everyone's watching on their phones. So like I'm standing next to Silas and Austin Turner, and they're like watching on their phones, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Ricky just made his putt and AB just double bogeyed. Like now he has to get a par if Ricky birdies, and that's exactly what happened. Is coming down the stretch at 18, it went from like AB literally, we were gonna say, could have thrown out of bounds, and then just laid up his putt and just tapped it in and taken the win, going OB twice on 18 with the way that the drop zones worked out. But instead, because he doubled that and then Ricky made that huge putt on 17, then he had to par and Ricky birdied to finish. But super exciting for AB to take that event down. That was so much fun to watch, and watching him finish out was awesome. He did hold the chessboard backwards when he did his little trophy celebration. But other than that, everything was great.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I was with Hannah Macbeth at the Discraft tent whenever I think he was on like 15, 16, and I wasn't paying attention to scores by MPO as much as I should have been because I was really busy at the moment. But she was saying how like she's like, oh my goodness, like this is actually getting kind of intense. And so then I started looking, and I'm like, wow, like it's not an actual runaway like it was in the earlier part of this round. And I was like, he's actually going to have to fight for this. And it was pretty impressive to see the finish. And I think it's way like being the first event of the year and being a Pro Tour event in general, when a finish comes down to a tight card to where you're going to have to really like fight for the win, it's so much better for the fans to watch. So that was cool to like watch hole 18 and it actually be a battle instead of just being like, I'm going to walk over to 18 and watch AB get his trophy. Like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was so much fun to watch the end. And honestly, the sad thing about it for Ricky is that when you actually go and look at the stats for hole 7, which is his double bogey in the middle of that round, Tristan Tanner tripled that hole the last round. Ricky doubled it. And then there were only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bogeys. And then the rest were par or birdie. I think there were probably just as many birdies as there were pars on that hole. It's only 350 feet. It's one of the easiest holes on that course. Super just unfortunate. Like looking back at his round, like that definitely would have changed things and made it really close coming down the stretch. But thinking about AB shooting that well at this course is just absolutely insane. Like I can't have pictured like a better round to actually end up taking it down.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, oh, wow.
The man was shredding the entire time. Like, to be honest, there was no stopping him. I mean, from round 1, I mean, he was just on it, and he was ready to just take it down. He was ready for that first win. I mean, he's come so close to it in the past, and yeah.
Okay, but the only thing is, in reality, he was really struggling on those last 2 holes of the course. I mean, for the event, he averaged 4 over on 17 and 18. So,
Yeah.
like,
honestly, hole 18 with the flip of a coin could go south so fast.
oh yeah.
Like, did you play before the tournament, Aiden?
No, I didn't get
The
to.
new layout? Okay, so this was my first time playing the new layout yesterday, and hole 17, you walk up to the tee and you're like, I don't even know what to do. Like, so what did I do? I laid up to the old, like, left of the old basket as if I was going to take the left path with my zone. And then from there, I'm like, okay, it's basically another chip shot with my zone to another fairway. So what do? Come up 6 inches short of the OB line, wet. So what do? You throw
on
again.
17.
Yes. So then I throw. I think I threw. What did I throw the second time? I think I threw a forehand. I was like, at this point, I am trashed. So I threw a forehand, and I was like, perfect. And then pitched up for my 10-foot tap in, and I missed it.
Oh. That hole. So I will say,
I doubled 17 and I doubled 18 to finish the event, and it was like
watching 17 on coverage is very, very different than watching 17 in person. 17 on coverage looks like these guys are just throwing nice little putter up shots into this nice little green patch with a clear view, and then they just throw up to the basket and snag their next shot. If you land perfectly in the middle of the landing zone, it's a gettable birdie for sure. But if you don't, that's maybe a 20-foot landing zone, like a 20-foot circle. So you're pretty much trying to do better than get a blind shot inside the circle, and then you have a difficult shot up into the green. There were so many out-of-bounds throws, so many throws that I saw from guys on the cards that I was caddying on and watching that just threw shots that they were like super pumped about, really excited about, and then they would get a red flag. And they're like, what on earth? What do I need to do to actually throw this hole right?
So apparently the shot to take... Oh, go ahead.
We had a guy on Silas's card that was talking to me and Jacob about how he would just throw like literally the most purest shots on 17, just like what you were saying, Aiden, and then get a red flag and get punished for it. But part of it is that he was saying that those big, I don't even know what they're called, but the stick tree leaf things that stick out of the
reed?
pond there.
You're talking about sawgrass?
That's called grass. The sawgrass.
I think he's thinking of reeds.
It's sticking out of the swamp water.
Yeah, you're
there.
thinking of
reeds.
Yes.
The reeds.
Yeah. They stick up so high, and I asked him, like, well, would it just be better to just cut those down some more? And he probably said, probably, but it still sucks how easy. I mean, even the most perfect shot can get punished, but I guess it wouldn't be perfect.
I think that's just making the course easier. And the course is not hard in the sense of that. The course is hard as in the OB. The landing zone being so slim. But what I seen on Monday, and the shot seemed to be the perfect shot for 17, was a flex forehand Firebird.
Really?
People were throwing that. There were a couple. That shot was thrown, and it would like cut through over the hill, and then start to come back and be just past the tree beyond the pond. And so then you're pitching up to the basket to tap in for birdie.
Okay. I could picture that because past that tree, it opens up probably to like a 40-foot landing zone instead of 20.
Yeah. It opens. If you can flex something around the tree, you're guaranteed to be inbounds a lot more than if you're not getting that far up.
Well, either way, AB was able to take it down, which is huge because this is his first big win on the tour, and he's been doing it for quite a while now. I know he was super pumped. It was really cool to see all of the Discraft people there, too, that were just super, super pumped for him. Bob was there, and then Paul and Adam Hammies and Austin Turner immediately running up to give him a big hug and surrounding him at the green. That was super cool to watch.
Very cool. Overall, I think it was amazing. I'm super pumped to see the next stop, but I'm super proud that we have something here in Florida, and I'm looking forward to the chess.com Invitational for 2025 already.
Also, Yeah, Magnus Carlsen was there, by the way. That was incredible. I got a picture with
Who's that?
the greatest chess player of all time.
I know. So actually, Aiden came up to me at the event, and he's like, "Did you see Magnus?" I'm like, "Who's Magnus?" And he was like the greatest chess player of all time. So I was like, "Oh, cool. I'm gonna go see him." And I just looked at him.
He's like,
He was so socially awkward for being
I
asked for
was like-
pictures that I was scared to ask. I see you. Yeah, today at work, all of my coworkers are like, "Oh my god, did you get to meet Magnus this weekend? He's the greatest ever." I'm like, I don't play chess. Actually, I do. So if you want to add me on chess.com, my handle's Tycopa. So I just started at 400.
Handles what?
400, yes.
It's
Starting off
the first
strong.
two of all of my names, Tycopa.
Oh, I'm like Tyco. I'm like what?
I'm
So yeah,
currently,
let's support chess.com for supporting disc golf and go download their app and sign up. Become a diamond member.
I mean,
for real.
I have to give a little shout out to chess.com too, because I mean, all like the little icons all over the course were so cool to see.
Yes,
Dude,
the
the
random
chess pawns
pieces.
around the pawns are at the bottom of the basket and the pieces at the tee pads.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It was so cool.
I thought it was the stupidest, corniest thing I ever heard when I found out they were the title sponsor, because I'm not a chess person. But then seeing them show up on site, like they spent so much money sending their staff here to set up this huge tent with like 100 chess tables. Who just added me on chess.com? chess.com.
Yo.
And so, shout out to Jacob P. Figgins. So yeah, like they had their staff on site. They had chessboards. I have one actually on my table that you could play while you were there. And like I had a friend that doesn't know disc golf at all, but heard that Magnus Carlsen was there, and he drove 2.5 hours to come see the event. Magnus ended up not showing up that day, but I walk over to the tent once, and he doesn't know anything about disc golf yet. We're about to like break him into it. He wants to play now, but I walk over to the tent, and he's playing chess with Albert Tam.
Oh,
And I'm
so
like,
funny.
"Do you know who
That's
you're
amazing.
playing chess with right now?" He's like, "No, just some guy that came in and wanted to play." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is great." So yeah, to see chess, and I got a second request and a third request. Oh no, just Jacob wanting to play now. So
Nice.
yeah, to see chess and disc golf become one, and if you haven't watched it, go to www.chess.com, their Instagram. Scroll down a ways, find the Discraft and chess.com video. It is absolutely hilarious. I showed so many people today. Like, shout out to them. You're right, Aiden. They made it one of the coolest Pro Tour stops I've ever been to because it was unique. So they threw a players party. They had like tons of food and drinks under this tent, like for everyone to like hang out. It's technically supposed to be for the VIPs, but because of the rain, everyone crowded. So it was crazy. A bunch of crazy disc golfers hanging out under a tent with Magnus Carlsen. Where else do you get that?
Yeah, and after all of the rounds, like I know personally, like we're walking up to the tee, we're like 7 minutes early, and Sully and I are just like, "Hey, let's play a game real quick." So we played a blitz game like 2 minutes before he tees off. Like, and then after the round, all of the pros are just sitting around playing chess with each other and just hanging out. It was so cool to see. They did such a good job with it. And Sully got a chessboard signed by Magnus, and that pretty much made his year. So that was pretty cool too.
Wow, that's amazing. They actually, chess.com raffled off one, and then there will be a silent auction or future raffle with Paul Macbeth Foundation that you get a Paul and Magnus signed chessboard. So
Hey,
shout out.
Wow.
Maybe that was like insider leak information, but that's coming one day.
hey, listen to Team Figgins podcast. You get the inside scoop.
Always.
Yeah, we have connections.
Dan,
I think that's all I've got.
Should we talk about the food truck situation on Saturday or no?
We can. I do just want to say I think that the chess pieces that were on the courses would have been cooler trophies than the chessboards, but that's all I want to say.
I do
Honestly,
agree.
I would like to take home a big king.
Yeah, I think
King
having
That's
the
what I was
king
thinking.
for MPO and then the queen
Yes.
for FPO would
Yeah,
have been
that's
King
so-
and Queen would have been so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Pro
Yes.
Tour still needs work on the trophies, but I mean, hey. They're getting there. They're getting there.
I don't think it's actually the Pro Tour's responsibility
TD.
to do the trophy. I think it's the TD.
Yeah, so that was Jeff Corn.
Jeff. Come on, Jeff.
Hey, I
I'm just
honestly
kidding.
think the chessboards
love
were
Jeff.
pretty cool.
It was super cool.
Yeah, those were cool. I think it would have been way cooler to have the things that were on
Let's
the
see if Brody
courses.
says something.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
All
I also think they probably should have put like chess.com invitational on the chessboard.
Agree.
Maybe like that, because the chessboard's super cool. Like if it is like a nice quality handmade chessboard, it could be worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars if it's really good quality. But like, it didn't say anything on it. It was just a regular old.
It should have been
oak
signed by
chessboard.
Magnus, or had a massive Olympus logo in the
Yeah,
middle.
or like something like that, where it's like Olympus themed or chess.com themed or something like that. Why not have chess.com branding on the trophy? I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be cool to at least have like the year of like when they won and stuff. I think kind of resemble that in a way would be cool. But yeah, I agree. All right,
Yep.
my turn.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay. Disc Golf Pro Tour posted before the chess.com invitational that they said that Florida was stacked with MPO players and FPO players. And okay, let me just give you something here. I agree in that sense. However, in the post, they put Paul and Paige in it. And yes, they reside here in Florida now. And I mean, we'll take them, but at the same time, they were never really grew up playing disc golf here.
Where are you going with this, Dan?
I want to
That's a
compare.
cap.
I want to compare.
Paul spent his off seasons here for like the last 10 years in Clearwater. He actually lived there at one point.
Okay. Well, I'm just on the PDGA website here, right? On the addresses.
Don't be a Karen.
What? I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying here that we're gonna look at some pretty, exponential disc golf states and just see which one's the most stacked. I kind of want y'all to give your opinion on it. We'll just start with Florida. I mean, this is PDGA. Remember, so it's not gonna have. Well, I think it might have Paige, but I don't think it'll have Paul because it still says Huntington Beach, California. But just listen to this. First, we got Calvin Heimberg, Garrett Gerthy, Ken Climo, Eric Oakley, Levi. No, never mind. Johnny McRae, Kevin Kiefer, Charlie Goodpasture, Benjamin Steeman, the dog, like Brandon Lotta, Cole Warheim, like stacked, right? So you think
I
of
don't
that?
think that there are any other states that are well stacked.
You don't think so?
I mean, pick another state. I feel like everyone's so spread out. Like,
Yeah, like
Okay.
Missy Gannon's New York,
I'm on North Carolina
Yep.
now.
and then we have to go to another country.
Yeah, honestly. Ready for North Carolina?
Sure.
We got Evan Smith, Jeremy Colling, Austin Turner, Nathan Queen, Grady Shue, Philip Bartholomew, Raven Newsom. That's about it for North Carolina. North Carolina literally being almost like a disc golf hub.
Go ahead and, like, out of curiosity, check
Yeah.
Kansas because of Emporia.
Kansas.
Oh
I
goodness.
think I remember checking that earlier.
see, I'm
Also,
looking at
people
just.
were kind of.
Sorry, you go.
Sorry, you go.
No,
Nope.
you're good.
You're-
Oh, you,
Oh my
nope,
gosh, someone
nope.
go.
You have to. This is the
So
problem with
you
doing
gotta
this
do Kansas.
virtually.
Yeah. So,
You got to do Kansas and you got to do Arizona.
well, before you, I'll give you time to look at Kansas and Arizona. But when you just sort strictly by rating, and you don't
Yeah.
like check states, like it's pretty spread out. Like you have Florida, Colorado, California, Alabama, Arizona, Massachusetts, Iowa, Tennessee, Georgia. We haven't repeated a single state yet. And then you have
Yeah.
Finland. You have 2 Oregons. That's
Nice.
Nate Doss and Culver Dolan.
Okay, Cole.
So I don't even know if we want
Okay.
to count Nate Doss really.
No, let's not count Nate
No,
Doss.
we're not.
Yeah, so you still haven't had
I feel
anything
like you have to be
repeat.
super active and you also have to be well known.
Yeah.
So, like, half the people you name from North Carolina, like, they're not big names.
Well,
there were like 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have Michigan, Georgia, Idaho, Colorado a couple of times because of Joel Freeman, and then obviously Eagle. But I feel like it's relatively spread out. Like, I don't feel like there's anything that's super stacked.
I feel like that says a great thing about the sport too. How spread out
That
it
Florida's
can be.
amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like literally, like it's not only just, North Carolina people, Charlotte people, or Texas, Dallas people playing the sport anymore, or California people playing the sport anymore. I mean, everyone's coming from all across, the country. I mean, yes, you got people like Ken Climo and Calvin in Florida, but I mean, Paul grew up in California. We got Cole in Oregon. We got Paige in Texas, and I just looked up Kansas. Apparently, did you know Luke Humphreys was from Kansas? I did not know that.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know
But
that.
also, like, a lot of the people that are, like, showing that they're residing somewhere, like, they're probably not from there.
I was gonna say, like,
either, so.
throw Chris Clemens up on that list. Like, why is he not in there? He's spending the off season down there. Like, if that's what they're gonna do it on. Which, by the way, Eric
Yeah.
Oakley caught some hate on that post. Since when is Eric Oakley not respected in the disc golf community? Like, when did that happen? Dude is a legend.
Yeah.
He came out with some of the best run of felons we've ever seen.
Let's not forget the Bjorg.
The Bjorg.
Well, we can forget about the Bjorg.
I don't know. I just saw that last week, and I mean, I was a little more passionate about it last week, and I thought it was going to be really cool, but it just wasn't as cool as I thought it was going to be. Sorry. Anyways.
The Bjorg or the post?
No, the post. Sorry.
Not the Bjorg.
I
Not
just feel
the
like the
Bjorg's
people that
awesome.
said... I feel like the people that said stuff about the post were just having a bad attitude, and it wasn't valid. There were, like, obviously a handful of Floridians that are true Floridians that probably should be mentioned. But at the same time, it doesn't matter where Paul lives. That's where he's going to be recognized because he is the name for the sport. So,
Yeah.
Facts.
I don't know. And then Paige, FPO side, she's a Floridian now. She has been for like 5 or 6 years now. Like, that's probably long enough to be considered from somewhere. I mean, I know she's originally from Texas or whatever, but I don't know. I didn't feel like... I thought the Eric Oakley one was a little interesting because he's like not as high rated as some of the other ones, but I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, maybe Garrett Gerthy deserved to be there because he has a bigger name, but going through my list, I'm like, I don't really know who else truly deserved a spot. They're not highly active on the Pro Tour to be recognized from somewhere. So Calvin was the main person, I feel like, from Florida that needs to be recognized because he has a name, he has a rating for it. Like,
Yeah,
he
was
is
Calvin not on
what
the
I think of
post?
as a Florida man.
He was.
No, he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Calvin
I think
and Ken
I
are
don't
the
think.
two.
Also, it's one person working in marketing at Disc Golf Pro Tour. It's literally like not worth hating the whole Disc Golf Pro Tour over. So.
Facts.
So we should just hate the single person, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. Let's direct all of our hate. Let's look
who
up
are
who their
they?
marketing person is, and let's just send them some emails. No, I'm pretty sure they got roasted enough over the post. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's any job. Like,
Okay.
there's times where I want to roast Dan for the stuff he posts on our channel.
You roast Dan all the time.
You do. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? That there's
Hey,
times
man,
that
your
you want to
content
and
sucks
don't.
sometimes.
Oh, please. You
This
roast
is
me all
true.
the
I've
time.
never held back.
Okay, if you had to
come
pick a state, if you had to pick a state right now, everybody's picking a state,
Oh, I
and
like
you
this,
get
I
all
like
of the
this.
disc golfers in that state to compete.
Florida.
Who are you going? Okay, Tyler stole Florida. Goodness, I'm gonna go a little dark horse pick here. I'm going Texas. Got a lot of good Texas disc golfers.
That's
You got
good.
Paige.
Who?
You've got Emerson
Paige is in
Keith.
Texas. She's Florida now.
Te-
Oh no,
Paige is
that's not.
Florida.
Paige is from Texas. You've got
All right, let's
Emerson
see,
This is
Keith.
the
Pull up-
argument now, though.
Are we going
It
based
should
on
Yeah.
our
be
birthplace then?
considered Texas
All right,
or
let's
Florida.
no. All right, I'm pulling up Texas only. This is who we have.
It's a good list.
We have Miles Seaborn, which is a really awesome guy, by the way. We have Bradley Williams.
Yes.
We have Mason Ford.
Yep.
We have Emerson Keith.
Yep.
We have Chandler Kramer.
Yep.
We have Robert Burridge.
Yep.
Brody Smith.
Yep.
Scott Stokely.
Yep.
Mason Matchbanks. Zachary Nash. Honestly, I didn't know he was from Texas until just now. GT Hancock. Connor O'Reilly. Nicholas Roten. Seth Talbot. and I'm stopping there because we're basically at 1,000 rated.
Okay,
Um,
but I'm saying entire state. You're pitting one state's best guys against another state's best guys, not top one. Like, if you're putting together a team of, like, the top 10 from a state, that's a good lineup right there.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
a solid lineup.
there's
I
two
feel like
guys that's
Okay.
winning the Pro Tour, but I mean, other than that, like, it's not
Calvin
bad.
and Paul could still take all of
I'm
them.
taking California.
And Ken.
California's probably a great
Oh,
choice.
because Paul is technically California.
You've got Paul.
Okay, so there.
Hold up.
You have-
Look it up.
You got James Proctor.
Yep.
Matt Bell,
Greg Barsby.
Yeah, you have Greg Barsby. Who else? I feel like that's kind of the extent of California. I'm not gonna lie,
That's a really strong core
I mean-
4, though.
but
Core 5.
yeah,
Can we
that's
talk
strong.
about that Ben is literally the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th rated pro in Florida?
Ben's crazy. If he
Wow.
toured, he'd do really well.
He's literally only 4 points lower than Kevin, who is full-time touring.
And
That's
killing it, by
impressive.
the way.
Placed good this week too.
Yeah. What, 7? I think he
Yeah,
finished
Kevin played very
17th,
well.
but
yeah.
Pretty solid.
or tied for 17 or 19 or something like that. Yeah, he played really
All right,
solid. He was on
well-
chase card. It was fun.
For the viewers listening or watching, what state would you pick? Comment on this video or podcast. Can you comment on podcasts?
You can put a little poll on Spotify. So if you're on Spotify or
That's
YouTube,
perfect.
you can comment on
Nice.
YouTube. There's a little poll I think that we can put on there.
Pick a state, and we
That'd be
will
cool.
roast you for it.
Tyler will roast you for it.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
Ain't that the truth? The Max Homa of disc golf. None of y'all know who Max Homa is. That's okay. Oh, man, I'm all
Wendy's
alone on
Twitter
that one.
of disc golf.
This guy is the best. He literally, he's a PGA Tour pro. He's one of the best. He's won on the PGA Tour. And he will comment, like, random people will tag him in posts of their swing and say, like, Max Homa, give me swing advice. And he just roasts their golf swing. And it's like a huge thing. It is so great.
I feel like we should talk Silas into doing this.
We
It
should
would-
Because he just
yeah.
like offered to start doing
form review.
like form advice for people, and he should just literally like start off strong and be someone who just roasts people.
Oh, man.
That
Speaking of
would be
which,
good.
okay, would be remiss if I didn't talk about our boy Joey Buckets killing it this weekend. That was
Yes,
fun to watch.
actually.
I mean, I
It was.
just want to say, like, we did predictions. My pick to win this event was Joey Buckets. He was on lead card the last 2 days. I'm just saying,
I don't
not
remember
the
who I
craziest
picked.
choice.
Guess you'll have to listen to the
I
podcast
picked
to find
Paul.
out.
I guess
When is
so.
the next? When does that one drop?
That one drops. I don't know when. We'll figure it out.
Is it today?
I think
or next
today. I
Tuesday?
think the day that we're recording is the day that drops. I think.
All right, let's
Nice.
So
let's
it's
make that
already
happen.
So it's already out. So go.
Wait,
listen
so
to
our
our previous
predictions are dropping after the tournament happens?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
think
gonna
it's-
sound like
It's gonna be so bad.
it's
It
gonna
sounds so
sound like we
stupid.
just watched the tournament and then made it later to try to make it sound like we guessed well.
podcast.
All
Yeah,
I know
for
is
real.
I remember saying that AB would not win anything this year, and
Oh,
Stop.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
incredible.
For the viewers, now you know that. Well, we don't, record this every week, and that there's a delay in posting. So
Yeah, so that's
sorry.
that's I'll stand by the fact that AB will never win anything, I guess.
Don't do that anymore.
Yeah. I guess I got to pick someone else to say
Wa-
we'll never win.
watch
so
him win
they'll-
Waco
they'll win.
now.
That would
Yeah,
be
watch him
insane.
win Waco. He definitely could. I feel like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with now that he's like shaken off the rust of like actually getting that first win and getting the nerves out and finally like being able to, have that experience behind him. Every tournament he's going to be a threat for the rest of the year because he's like nobody throws like he does right now. He's just so good.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, make sure you comment what state you would pick on this podcast if you were to pick a disc golf team just from that state. Let us know what you think of AB taking down chess.com. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as Dan would say. And we will see you in the next podcast.